Hi, everyone. This is DJ Honeyflow. Good to see everyone again. I know it's been a bit of a minute for myself the last couple months, but definitely trying to get back and do more shows and get back to what I truly love, which is music and just interviewing interesting streamers and just people in general, not necessarily streamers, but just hearing people's life experiences. We have a really amazing guest, coming up too. Someone that it's been a true pleasure meeting, a lot of fun. I think we're on the same sense of humor, which is nothing but pure jokes too in the chat rooms, which I love. This person actually took up DJing in quarantine. He went from a mechanic to a priest. He rides motorcycles. He smokes cigars. I mean, very unconventional from what you think of what a priest should be, at least for myself, and lots of jokes and laughter in the chat rooms. It's been a pleasure watching his show. He started a new show through the pandemic called House of God, which he plays house music, but it's also very inspirational and very touching to me too, seeing, the chat room filled with prayer requests, or anything that people need. He seems to always be there to help others, which I feel is, definitely inspires me to think about my shows and how what to do and how to inspire other people as well. So make sure you guys give him a warm welcome. It's Father Damien in the room. Make sure you guys all add him as well too. And I'm going to bring him in right now. Hey, how you doing?
Hello. Hi.
How's it going?
Good. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you good. I can hear you good. I have my earphones on, so I could definitely hear you. And I know people will start coming through the chat room soon, which is great as well. Guess what I wore today, just for you? Look at this.
Black or a
No, this
collar?
white collar. This white collar.
I don't see a white collar.
Well,
I see
it's
everything's
just the
white.
collar. It's just a collar. So I was like, well, if he's wearing a white collar, then I'm going to wear one too.
Oh, I noticed you're not wearing a hat though. A hat.
No, I'm not wearing a hat today. I was going to, but I'm like, no, I'm going to try a white collar thing too and see if he notices.
Because
I
like in
wasn't sure.
church, in your church, don't you wear a hat? Like is that a Sunday hat?
No, I mean, like they do have top hats. It depends what kind of church you go to, right? So I used to go to this huge mega church, and I wore hats. I didn't wear hats. I DJ'd there. I depending how I felt. It wasn't very. You had to really dress up.
Right.
But I know some churches, like especially Caribbean churches, like they dress really good. And you know that because you're from Guyana, right?
Yeah, but well, I came up when I was 5, so I don't really know. I can't remember the church, but with Catholic churches, we're kind of different in the sense that uh they wear veil. They wear like a veil instead of a hat, right? So
Oh, interesting.
some of the traditional people will wear a veil or
Mhm.
no headwear at all.
Is
I
it just the women that wear that?
Yeah, just the women. But I wonder if it's hello Luxo, how are you?
Hey,
I wonder
Luxo.
I wonder if it's a cultural thing because even in North America, I don't know if they use hats or not. Like I mean, I think we kind of look. There was only one old lady when I first came to St. Monica's that wore a hat, and everyone else kind of looked at her like, "Why are you wearing a hat in the church? Take your hat off."
That's
Right?
so funny. Yeah.
So I don't know if it's cultural or what,
Maybe
but
I was related to the old lady. I think I was related to her. I like my hats. I like being in disguise. I like my hats. So we're definitely going to get into it because I just feel like you lead such an interesting story in life, and just some of the interests, are really unconventional when you think of, I guess, say a priest, I guess what a priest should be. So I guess, why don't you let people know, like I know obviously you're where you're from, but why don't you let people know as well where you're from, and just how whereabouts do you grow up as well too.
okay. Hello, Joan YSY1.
Hey, Joan. Yeah.
I'm from Scarborough, um, Toronto. I guess you could say Toronto, Ontario. I grew up in Scarborough. I was born in Guyana, South America. Came up when I was 5, and we lived we lived in Scarborough, or I guess my parents still live in Scarborough. My family live in Scarborough, and not my sisters though, but my family, my parents, my aunts and uncles. Um, yeah, so I grew up in Scarborough, East Side. So you might hear like other DJs like DJ Solid and those guys from Scarborough. They'll be talking about East Side Run Things and all that.
Mhm.
So yeah, that's where I grew up. Yeah, so
What was it like culturally? Because I know you were around a lot of DJs and people that were influencers. I know you mentioned your high school, and was it pretty multicultural? I'm assuming
yeah,
in Scarborough it
we-
was.
yeah, very. It was well, Toronto and Scarborough is very multicultural, right? A lot of Filipinos, West Indians. My sister hung around more West Indians. I hung around more Filipinos, and then in my later years, as I was getting into automotive, a lot more Italians and Europeans. And to be like my not, I didn't hang around a lot of DJs. Like I in high school, I think almost every high school in Scarborough, I would believe like a lot of people. There were a lot of DJs back in the '90s, like wanting to learn how to mix. So the most famous one we have in our high school was Tricky Morera,
Hmm.
who was one grade older than me in my sister's grade, but he was always kind, friendly, very friendly in high school. Said hello to me all the time. Said hello to everyone. Whenever we went to the all ages clubs, like RPM or the World. I don't know. I know you told us before a long time, like where you grew up. I don't know if back there in your hometown, if they had lots of clubs and stuff. But we had a lot of clubs along Adelaide and Richmond and all these places, and there were all ages, like literally there were all ages clubs on Friday nights. So and Tricky Marrero would DJ some of these clubs, but he would always call us out. Anyone that went to Pope, he would always shout out. And and then I hung around a friend of mine. I guess I won't say his name,
Hmm.
just because he's not a DJ anymore. But in high school, he was DJing, and I would take my dad's. At the time, it was a Taurus station wagon, and I would be part of his crew. So he would do little gigs like house parties or debuts or different things, and I would bring all the equipment in the station wagon, and then we'd set up. He tried to teach me how to DJ with turntables and beat matching, and I was terrible. I couldn't even beat match one thing. I would just so I forgot it. I said forget it. I'm just gonna help be in the background. I'm gonna help set up the equipment. I'll do all those things, get the free drinks and free food, but I'm not gonna try DJing. It was only yeah, and then DJ KC I know because of his sister. So his sister and brother-in-law I worked with in the automotive industry. So that's the only reason I know him. And then I know some rappers and stuff like that that went to high school with me. Hello, Sonia
Hey,
Bossel.
Sonia. We got Kay Bertrand in the building. We
Hey,
got
Keeper.
Jones. Lexi, hi to all the lurkers, and also YouTube and Facebook. I'm now streaming to as well. So, hello, you guys. You won't be able to see the comments on YouTube or Facebook, but if you come to Twitch, it's free to follow, and it's a really great community here. You will see all the comments coming through on Twitch, but I'll try to post them for you guys as well. So, like in high school, did you go to like a lot of clubs back in the day? Like before you were
Before
a
I was a
priest and
priest,
everything? Yeah.
I did. Actually, when I was a licensed mechanic, I went more when I was a licensed mechanic than when I did um, in high school. High school, I went when my friends went. I went to the. I went to. I wouldn't say I didn't go every week because I worked from 16 years old. I worked, so I either worked at McDonald's. I worked at international clothiers. I worked at Bay Portrait Studios. I worked at the Cedarbrae Public Library. So I was working too and making money. So I wasn't. There were times when I was too tired to go to the all ages club on because it would only be Friday nights on some places. But hello, Winston YSY. Happy Wednesday.
Hey,
Um,
Winston. We had those too, the underage. I think I started when I was 13 or 14 going to like Much Music dances. That was pretty young when you think about it. You're only in
Wait,
grade 7 or 8.
Much Music.
Yeah.
Wasn't that in Toronto though? Much Music?
Well, yeah, but they would have like these Much Music, MTV like video parties for
Oh, okay.
like kids underage. So I would definitely go to all of those venues like growing up, you know?
Right,
And we would
right.
sneak in too, like sneak in. We were small enough to like we'd run in the washroom, take off our jackets, and then run out of the washroom with the security not seeing us and try to get in. I don't know why I should be telling a priest this today. I don't think I should be
It's
telling a
called
priest this.
Confession. It's called Confessions, right? Isn't that the title of the show, Confession with Father Damien?
Yeah, I probably should actually have said that. I didn't, you know? That's so funny. You probably get that all the time. Like just
Oh
wearing
yeah.
that white collar alone, people feel like they probably could open up their life story like with you.
Well,
So,
yeah.
mhm.
So in high school, I went to more clubs in when I was a mechanic. Almost. Sorry, that's my alarm going off. But I went almost every single day.
Oh,
Wednesday night
wow.
was Fluid. Friday night was 108. Wait, Wednesday night was Fluid, which was all house. So DJ Aristotle, if you know him,
Mhm.
he was the resident DJ at Fluid nightclub.
Wow.
And every Wednesday night, it was always classic house.
Mhm.
Classic house. Then there was 108, Club 108. Then there was, I don't know if you remember, like Government and all these
Yeah,
different.
I remember government. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and then Friday night was like Government, Paparazzi's, Palazzos, or Saturday would be the same thing. And then Sunday was Misty's, which was all
Mhm.
freestyle music. And then Monday night would be Just Desserts. Like we would go to Just Desserts on Monday and Tuesday nights,
Mhm.
but pretty much almost every week, every day, we'd be out or be clubbing or something.
Wow. So where did your love like from music come from? Did it come from your father or did it come from somewhere else?
My love for music.
Mhm.
Well, actually my dad is my both my dad and mom are musical. My dad plays the guitar. Um, I don't know if my mom played the guitar once. I think they were in the church choir. I mean, they're here; they can just answer if they want. But
Oh, are they in here?
I
Aw.
won't. I won't call them out though.
Aw, who's your
I know,
mom? That's so sweet.
but
Where's mom?
I can't I can't remember whether they both played in the church choir
Aw, your dad's here too. That's so cute. That's so
and
fun meeting your whole family.
yeah, well they pretty much support me like even all throughout the when I started.
Yeah.
So you know how when you're doing affiliate, you need a minimum of 3 people.
Mhm.
I always knew I would have at least five. I have my sister. I have
That's awesome. I think
I
that's awesome because you rarely see family and friends supporting, especially what you do or your shows. So anytime I see family, like that definitely warms my heart when I see that, especially in the chat room. Okay,
well I
where's
think they I
mom
think
and dad?
they I think they support me mainly because of the priest thing than because of the music, right? I mean,
True. Yeah.
I think I asked my dad once about the music if he likes it. It's not his cup of tea, but that's why I did the pop-up Wednesday, by the way. But getting to your question. Sorry, I'm going off topic on the question. But getting to your question was I am musical in the sense that I went all through elementary school and high school. I was in band and in music. I played the trombone and the baritone. I could read music. My mom had me learning piano from my aunt. Um, like I don't think I was great. I was just okay. But in
Mhm.
terms of the trombone and baritone, I was good. good enough to be in high school. I was in both senior and junior concert and jazz bands. Um, but my love for house music came out in high school because everyone was listening to house music. All my friends, everyone, including, and then we go to clubs with Tricky Morera, who spun. He's a house DJ, right?
Hmm.
International house DJ. So we went. We grew up listening to it all the time,
Yeah.
and then yeah. So that was yeah, and just music is just something relaxing about music, universal about music. You don't have to like, you don't have to understand the language to enjoy the rhythm and the beat and the and to be honest, I honestly for the longest time I didn't even listen to lyrics.
Hmm.
It was always the rhythm, the beat, and even the chord progression, right? So the musical part removed from the lyrics.
Hmm.
And there were times when I don't even know if my mom's here, but sometimes like in high school, I'd be driving her and I'd have this house song on. And remember, I was telling you earlier on that house is a good genre because 90% of the songs are clean and
Hmm.
and they're very
That's true for
they're
house.
spiritual.
Oh,
And
yeah.
classic house was really about freedom of like apartheid and stuff like that, freeing Africa and a lot of different things about being in slavery and working against those things. And they had good messages, right? When you take a look at what is it, The Promised Land by what's his name, Joe Smooth,
Hmm.
Promised Land, and then Follow Me, and all these classics.
Follow Me's a classic.
Yeah,
Yeah.
all these classics. Welcome in,
I
Raiders.
know. I was
Ray
looking at another
Domingo,
computer. I'm like,
welcome
where's the
in
raid from? Thank you so
from
much, Ray
DJ Ray
Domingo.
Domingo, Jojo
Mr.
and
Ray
Colin. How are you?
Domingo, trouble
Music
in the
lover.
building. Congratulations, Ray Domingo, as well for the best UK DJ and award. It was very well deserving. There are so many great people. I just want to say congratulations to all the nominees. Everyone that wins an award, whether you win or you don't, whether you're on a list or you don't, it really doesn't matter. Everyone does really, truly amazing shows on Twitch. But I know Ray Domingo is one guy that works incredibly hard, next to a white gold and so many people, Q mixologists, like working 4 or 5 hours a day. That's a lot of grind. It's a lot of work. So props to you, Ray Domingo, for winning. I was definitely happy that you got that. And thank you so much for the raid. Welcome, Raiders. Do you want to give out a few shout outs here too, Father?
Oh yeah, I
Damien?
was jumping in saying
Yeah, go ahead. Go
I'm
ahead. You do it good. I don't
welcome
have
in.
buzzers or anything yet.
You don't have buzzers?
I
Stirs
should.
the Soul, welcome in. Who else? Tat 96.
Yes.
DJ Diamond Lee, welcome in. I mean, I saw the raid come in my eye, by my peripheral eye, and I started saying,
Sonia's pew pew pew.
pew pew. Yeah, that's a DJ Chris Cut thing too. You can do
Yeah,
your own
exactly.
pew 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 pew
I'm
pew
horrible
pew.
at sound effects. Yeah, we got to Tat in the building, Sonia. Um, I always get this name wrong. Volafam. I'm going to say the last. DJ Diamond Lee. Thanks for coming through the Funk Shop. Who
Carla
else we got here?
Carla Corgi.
Oh, hey,
Corgi.
there's another DJ Honey. You must be my cousin. I think you're related to me. Well, we're cousins now. DJ Honey. Are you
DJ
doing
Honey,
1969? Who else do
from the
we have
UK.
here? We got JoJo in the building.
All the
Um,
AITT
we got
fam.
Nakia. Let's see, the Funk Shop, Music Lover, and Big Juice. Thanks for coming through, you guys. We got Lynn in the building.
I think
Rah
Carla is
rah.
laughing at me or you. Carla,
Probably me. I'm
fam.
super foggy, guys, so don't uh,
Rara, welcome in, Rara.
if I yeah.
Gunnar
We
Rick.
got Jay YZ in the building. Who else do we
I
have
just
here?
listen
I'm
to
trying to
how
see if I missed
try to
anyone.
listen to how other people name the names. Tall man Brian B, welcome
Oh man,
in.
Brian. Yeah,
I
nice
just
to
try
see
to
you,
listen.
Winston
Where's
and
Winston?
Bertrand. Thank you guys so much. If I missed you, definitely throw your name back in the chat. We got Gunnar Rich in the building. Yeah, this is my cousin, DJ Honey, must be related to me, and everyone else. Thank you guys. Thanks, Raiders, for coming through. We only have till 6:45, so there's a lot to cover with Father Damien. I'm so interested for all you guys that are just coming in. I'm going to say it again. I feel like he leads a really interesting life. He was a mechanic and then he became a priest. He does a show called House of God, which is a house show, but he also does really inspiring things, at least to me. I feel it's really inspirational, like if anyone has any prayer requests in the chat room, he's always, asking if anyone has any requests. And the chat room is flooded with requests of people in need of so many things that are happening, and it just makes me realize how much our shows are so important to inspire people. It's not just the music we play. It's not just being in front of the camera, and it's not just about ourselves, and we always have to be reminded of that to definitely give back and do something above ourselves, because there's so many people that come to Twitch that are going through some really, hard trials. So his show really inspires me. Plus, the brother, Father Damien, gets my sense of humor. We banter each other quite a bit. Like I really harass him as a priest, and he puts up with it. I don't know how you do that, but we're
One
going to
time
talk
I
about
was
it.
streaming. I streaming one time, and you said, if you can see me, bat your eyes or something like that. Take your glasses off and bat your eyes. I
Yeah.
don't know. I was on a raid train. Was I on a raid train? I can't remember. It was like not my regular House of God. Oh, that's it. I was on Vibes with
I was like, scratch your
Manju Money.
nose and like bat
Scratch
your
your nose
eyes.
if
You're
you're,
like
yeah.
this.
And then I took my
Front
glasses
camera.
off and went like this. Blink,
That
blink my
made me
eyes.
laugh. That made me laugh. Not everyone gets my humor, so I appreciate you do. And then another time, guys, I harassed him and I said, I don't believe you have a green screen right now. I think you have a green screen. I mean, I don't think you're in a church right now, because his picture looked like a real green screen. So I said, if this is not a green screen, then I want you to run to the altar right now. He gets up and he runs 500 meters. I was
100,
laughing.
100.
Oh,
50
100?
meters one way, 50 meters back.
Okay, so I was laughing so hard that made my night, and he was jumping on the stage and he looked this tiny, like on the stage. Well, you said you're only 5'6", so you're probably about this tiny,
Five,
you
six,
know.
and three quarters. Every
Five,
quarter
six,
counts.
quarter. No, it does, because I'm only 5'1". So he was like this tiny, guys, and running, jumping up and down, and it still looked like he was in a green screen. What did you think of that when I told you to do that? What was your And then I
I
accused him of lying, and he's like, "You're accusing a priest of lying?" I'm like, "Yes, we all lie. We're all human."
I didn't realize it, but even DJ Icy Ice thought it was a green screen. Everyone thinks it's a green screen. And but I I didn't think anything of it. I just thought, okay, well, I'll go and prove it, right?
Mhm.
But out of that came a redemption.
That's
So
cool.
there is go to the altar redemption in two ways. Like, so you can either pay your redemption points. So after watching Tweak Music Tips and learning a little bit more about getting your community involved, you can get you can use your redemption points for different things. So one of it was go to the altar, right?
Mhm.
So go to the altar. So that was one, and that's like 25,000 redemption points.
Wow, I love that. I think that's good that you put that in there.
But
Uh,
it also worked too, because I saw other streamers doing things like, if we crush a level 5 hype train, then I'll do this. And when in the summer it started to get really hot, and I
mhm.
can't stream in the church because it's way too hot. My camera shuts off because of the heat from the battery, and so I stream in my rectory where I live. So if they crushed a level 5 hype train, I would actually take them with my camera into the church onto the altar. So it's like first person. So they're walking with me. So that actually, I gotta thank you, because if you didn't tell me to go there, I wouldn't have thought of these other things. And it actually helps the community to, to band together, to give bits, to do many different things. It changes the dynamic of the show
Yeah,
itself.
that's a great idea. Hey, Gunnar, Rich, I see you there. And Inch High just came in. How you doing, sis? Good to see you. Inch High 73. Make sure you guys
Thank
add her.
you,
Another
Gunnar
great
Rich.
DJ. We got Baby Girl Ray Ray as well. Another top mod along with Sonia and other mods here too. We appreciate you guys.
Oh, there's Inch.
Yeah, True Sword too. Thanks for coming through. I like this comment. Gunnar says, you are the most Father Damien's the most people person priest I've ever come across in a long time. I think that's awesome, and I think that speaks volumes that you could do things in a different way. It doesn't have to be the traditional way of doing things. I feel like that's what, truly hits the hearts of people is, yeah, you definitely being a people person, being relatable. And I think accepting people where they're at, I think that's a very special gift, and that's what I see in you
Oh,
anyways. So
thank you. Thank you.
definitely giving you some flowers today.
Thank you. Hello,
um,
Inch High.
hey,
Oh
and
my
Chai.
goodness. And because of Inch High and Sonia Fossil, I have another redemption, which is a emote redemption,
Mm-hmm.
emote challenge redemption. So when you have the dancing emotes, I try to copy those dancing emotes. Some of them are hard, right? So like
Oh
so
yeah, those were funny. Those were hilarious. I was wondering what you're doing. I'm like, why is he dancing all crazy?
I was trying
Yeah.
to copy the emotes.
Sonia is like, don't blame me. We're gonna blame you for everything, Sonia. So when did you become a mechanic and how did that happen too?
Oh, straight out of high school, I didn't want to be a mechanic. I was looking to be an accountant.
Hmm.
But circumstances were like, I don't know if you well, I guess in 94, 95, you weren't living in Ontario, but in Ontario, the Ontario government and Chrysler Canada were giving out scholarships for automotive. And so my dad was looking at the newspaper and saw that they were the advertisement that they were giving out scholarships and encouraged me to go and try out for it. And I honestly wanted to be an accountant. Like I mean, in high school, I did all my business courses. I did OEC accounting. I was in junior achievement for 3 years. 2 of the years, I was VP of finance, and I really was hoping to get into accounting. But anyway, so I end up taking this, going in for the interview and the test, and then getting the scholarship. So I was one of 20. So every year they gave 20 free scholarships. So I didn't have to pay for my education.
Oh wow. Like
And
junior achievement, is that the program working with kids?
yeah, junior achievement was a
Yeah.
program in high school where basically um, professionals in the business world, entrepreneurs, they would help students build or form a company. They would build it from scratch. We would make a company logo, a name, what we're going to be selling, and then we're going to try to get investors. And we build it up, and then we go and we sell and product. We sell and market our product, and then at the end of the school year, we sell everything. We close it down and give back dividends to the investors. So I was the one who presented the finance because I was the VP of finance. So what the
Mhm.
break even point was, and which actually, you know what? To be honest, like when I moved here as a pastor of St. Monica's, that's exactly what I'm doing. I'm looking at
Mhm.
all the books. I'm doing all these different things and doing things that I would have normally done that you would do as an accountant, right?
That's so crazy. I was in junior achievements like as a kid, and then I became a mentor too, like back in Winnipeg,
Oh wow.
for junior. So I know exactly the program. It's helping other kids, guys that may not have funding. That's how I landed in business as a kid. Was just got invited to junior achievements, and that's cool that you did that too. That's awesome.
Yeah, my
So
sister did
yeah.
it. My sister did it. I did it. Um, Yeah, so I became a licensed mechanic because of circumstances and not because that was my ideal job at first, right? But when you're going when I went into the school for automotive, I mean, there's something about fixing something
Hmm.
that's therapeutic, right? And it was amazing, like to be able to take apart an engine, put it together, and make it work. Take apart a transmission and make it work. You know, fix different things, and it was just one of those things that as time progressed, I really enjoyed more and more.
How long were you a mechanic for, too?
Let's see. I entered the. I was an apprentice at 19, and by 22, I was licensed. And then by 25, I left to become a priest. So about 6 years. Although, mind you, see, it would normally take 5 years for apprenticeship. It took me 2.5 years.
Oh, wow. So do you still know how to do a lot of those things? Like, like
Oh
changing
yeah,
tires and
I still do. I still do. My limitation will be tools, right?
hmm
So in my head, I still know like how to
hmm
do things. I still know I can diagnose, but my limitation is tools. Like I was working on my dad's car for brakes, right? And then I got stuck because of tools. I couldn't. I had to go and buy tools later on, so I couldn't just fix the car right there. And then
Okay.
I'm
Yeah.
limited. I'm limited with tools that
Okay.
limit
Hey,
not knowledge.
Langlouis. Yeah. Great to
Hi,
see you,
Langlo.
Langlouis. Great picture. Look at this. This is an aisle two shot. Not to put this girl on the spot, but I think this is the first time I've seen your picture, Langlouis. Or maybe it's a different one. I don't know. Maybe I'm losing my mind. Let me know. But great picture, anyways. Um,
You
okay,
have an
we got
excuse. You can say
exactly.
Zahando 87. Oh snap! Yes, it's me.
Zahando. How you doing? Who's Zahando? Oh snap! It's what? Oh, Father
Zahando
Damien.
87. Oh snaps! It's Father Damien. Yeah.
I guess you guys know each other, which is great. Hey, we
Oh yeah.
got
We're
DJ
ready.
Teddy Stream. I like that
Yeah.
DJ Teddy Stream. I
It's
feel
the
like you need like a
AITT
buzzer for your name. Hmm?
AITT fam. It's the AITT fam.
Oh, okay, nice. Awesome. So I'm just wondering because I find it so interesting, like your story, just some of the interests, they're so opposite. I'm a lot like that too, like different interests. And I just find with you, it's like being a mechanic, then changing to priest, driving motorcycles, smoking cigars. Like it's so unconventional. So what made you decide to actually, when did you become a priest? And you said it was about 5, 6 years being a mechanic. So when did you change over being a priest, and why did you want to become a priest as well?
Yeah. So it was in 2001 was when I entered the seminary.
Hmm.
Right. So I didn't become a priest right away, but I left my job to enter into the seminary to study to become a priest, which was like 7 years of study, right? So I have I have a degree in philosophy, and then I have two theological degrees, one theological baccalaureate and a master's of divinity. So that would took me 7 years. But in terms of leaving the mechanic to enter into the seminary, that was 2001. And so when I had turned 24, what made me change like my career path was basically the priesthood is not a career path; it's a calling. But what made
Hmm.
me
Hmm.
change basically is, well, like I said earlier on, I went clubbing every single night of the week, almost every single night of the week. And there was a time when I turned 24, my friends were threw a birthday party for me at Park Avenue nightclub, which is not too far from here. It used to be Young and Shepherd, Young Street and Shepherd, and I was there with all my friends, and we were dancing on the dance floor, and for some reason, like in the middle of the night, I really just felt an empty feeling, like emptiness, and I really didn't know what that was. I thought maybe I drank too much. Maybe for every drink like my friends bought me, the bartenders and the owners and the bouncers, they would buy me a drink also, right? And so I thought maybe I had way too much to drink. I'm mentioning this as my parents are in the room.
Hey, but you know what? It's honest, and I think,
Yeah, it's okay.
yeah, I think
It's
that's
part of
good.
my life. It's
It's part
part
of
of
your
my life.
story. Yeah.
And so I kind of had this empty feeling, and I didn't know what it was. So, um, but that feeling stayed there for weeks, and then I thought, oh, I should probably go to mass like weekly. So I was going to mass on Sundays, but I wasn't. I was going and I was serving mass, but I wasn't really. I wouldn't consider myself religious. I just did it out of habit, one, and also because I was out of duty as an altar server. But I started to go to mass before I went to work, and then eventually I thought I should go to confession. So it was like 10 years since I had my last confession. DJ Ray Domingo was joking about the last time he had confession was 47 point something years ago. He was
Oh,
just joking
wow.
on his stream just a few moments ago. He was
Hmm.
joking about confession, and so it was 10 years since I had confession. And a friend of mine told me how to make a good confession. So she gave me an examination of conscience, which goes through the Ten Commandments and
Hmm.
how you broke those Ten Commandments. And I came up with 12 pages full of sins, back to front. And I wrote really small because at the time I was living still at my parents' house, and I was in the basement, and I didn't want my mom to walk in, when she's dropping off the laundry or anything, to walk in and see my sins. So I literally wrote really small, fine print, but they were
Hmm.
12 pages full. And then I found a priest to listen to my confession. And after the confession was done and the priest absolved me of my sins, I literally like all the weight was lifted, and I felt so much peace that I never felt in my life. Like I traveled, I went to Cancun, Puerto Vallarta. I partied in Miami at the MTV Music Awards in Miami.
Hmm.
Went to Fort Lauderdale, Bahamas. I did so many things that you would think, you'd be happy. So the world told you what: money, girls, cars, right? Those are the formula for happiness.
Hmm.
Um, no, this confession, once I was absolved of all those sins, there was a peace that was there, and I thought, oh, I gotta settle down, or as you would say, find aisle two, right? Well, going to
That's
aisle
so
two.
true.
So I should
Yeah.
settle down, find a good Catholic woman.
Hmm.
And then at that time, my best friend got into a car accident, and his family forced him to go to a retreat, a religious retreat called Singles Encounter.
Hmm.
And he was trying to convince me to go with him. Hello, Mimi Berry. He was trying to convince me to go with him, and as what I was like, no, no. Why do you want me to go with you? And then he thought I'd enjoy it, and then eventually he just said, well, it's a singles encounter, so there's single women there,
Hmm.
Catholic. So I thought, oh, then I'll go, and maybe I'll find my wife there.
Hmm.
So I went, and yeah, I didn't find my wife there.
Hmm.
Although I was kind of rambunctious, I guess, because I wasn't I was distracting everyone. Like
Hmm.
I'd be sitting next to someone, like a girl, and hey, how's it going? I'm Damien. What's your name? And they were supposed to be concentrating on what the speakers are talking about, their testimony on their experience with God, right?
Hmm.
I'm not even listening. I'm just talking to other people, trying to get their number, trying to see how things can progress. But then what ends up happening is after every break, I'd be moved because they're watching us. I didn't know they were watching us. So they,
Hmm.
they would just move me like musical chairs. Like I'd be moved from one person. Like they just kept on moving me so I wouldn't talk to the same people. And eventually they asked me to give a testimony, and I was like, testimony, I don't even know how God touched me in this retreat or not, right? But it was through the testimonies that people started coming up to me and saying, hey, you should do this other retreat. You should do this. You should do this. And then I was open to doing it. And I went to these other retreats. And then it was at that time I felt, hey, maybe I'm called for something different. Maybe I'm called for the priesthood. And that was like, I wasn't 100% sure. But then one day in December, and this is December 2000, one day, December 2000, I woke up in the middle of the night and I felt a tug, like God's calling me, a tug. And I knew right there I had to quit my job. So I got up, I wrote my resignation. And the next day, when I went into work, gave it to my shop, the shop manager, to tell him that I'm quitting to become a priest. And he didn't accept it at first, meaning like he said, did you get into the school? Do you know what it means to be a priest? And I said no. And he said, okay, when you're accepted, then I'll accept your resignation letter. But yeah.
Wow, that is incredible. I can relate. I hope I don't go into the priesthood myself or anything or what have you. I don't want to be a first lady or anything like that. But guys, I did wear a white collar top just for Father Damien today, just so we can match. You know, he's got the white collar. I kind of got a white collar going on here. But I think with bits of your story, I could definitely relate to as well. Just, you know, when God nudges your heart and it's indescribable. You can't really, a lot of people won't understand your moves or understand what you're doing in certain seasons, you know, and he definitely nudges your heart with things. You know, I can so relate to that too. I think that's awesome. It takes a certain amount of courage to jump from being a mechanic to like, okay, this is what God wants you to do, you know?
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
yeah. And yeah, I think that's really good. How long have you been a priest for then? Like, how long has it been for you?
I was ordained May 2008. So what's that now? I think that's 15 years almost. Is that 15 years?
Oh,
Like
15 years. Wow.
someone do the math. I'm looking up like I'm looking for the math.
Yeah,
Like,
that's okay.
where's the
Hey,
calculator?
yeah.
God, tell me what's the calculator? What's the name? What's the number?
Exactly. Hey, I was going to say thank you so much, Linglui, for those bits. Appreciate you, girl. And if everyone could do me a huge favor, I didn't have a show yesterday. So if everyone can please wish Mimi Berry a happy birthday, flood the chat room with happy birthday to
Happy
her.
birthday,
That
Mimi
would be
Berry.
amazing. Yeah. So we're gonna do something special for her in a couple weeks. Birthday Ray Train, but she's a really special mod, along with my other mods too, Clarky and Junior. But definitely, it was her birthday yesterday. So please flood the chat room with hearts and happy birthday to her as well, because she definitely deserves it. And I hope you had a great day, girl. Oh, okay, so she says 14 years. See, she helps me a lot too because I
Thank
can't
you.
figure out things in the chat room
Wait, is it
most of the
14
time.
years? 2008 to now is 14 years? Yeah.
Yeah, I think yeah, I think it's fourth. I'm not sure actually. I have to use a calculator too. So, would you have thought like this whole journey from today to 14 years ago was what you expected, or do you feel like it changes like
Yeah.
hourly, yearly? Like do you feel like it's kind of like a roller coaster journey? Like, how do you feel this whole faith journey is? Like, not just being a priest, but just like believing in what you believe in. Like, how would you say the whole 14 years has been for you?
Well, I'm not too sure if you're familiar with Catholic priests, but it is literally it's you're just I'm just open to everything. Like I could be moved like right now. That's
Hmm.
the bishop can move me to a different parish or a different assignment, or I could go to Rome and study and
Oh,
like
wow.
there's so many different things that can happen.
Hmm.
Nothing is ever set, right? And then
Hmm.
so like yeah, like I wasn't expecting to come here to St. Monica's. Like
Hmm.
some of the places I was in Aurora when I was newly ordained. I was in Aurora as an associate pastor there.
Mm-hmm.
Then I was in the Office of Vocations as a assistant vocation director of the Archdiocese. And then I was in the out in Bolton. And then a priest died. The priest for this parish died in the parish.
Wow.
And then I was made pastor here. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, there's really nothing like literally. I
So they
never.
could move you to another country too?
No, I was ordained for the Archdiocese of Toronto,
Mm-hmm.
but they can move me to another country in the sense of if they ask me to study. So if they ask me to study for the Archdiocese of Toronto for, to teach in the seminary
Mm-hmm.
or to be a professor, then I'd have to go to Rome or the States to other theological schools that
Okay.
have doctorate programs, and
Mm-hmm.
uh, and then I would they wouldn't do it here in Toronto, even though
Mm-hmm.
they do have the Toronto School of Theology that do doctorates, but they would send us more like most of our priests go to Rome.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, I'm not too familiar with you get me interested in learning more about, I'm not familiar with Catholic as much because I'm Christian, but I'm not even sure if there's much of a difference there, if it's kind of the same. I know we have different philosophies on it on a few things, but I kind of believe that it's like the heart, like that's what I'm learning in this season anyway. Sometimes we follow things in religion, which is great, but I feel like you have to have that heart transformation, and that happens like hourly if not daily, that's what I'm learning, that it doesn't matter if you go to church, you serve 7 days a week. It's like if your heart isn't right, and most of the time, if we're honest as human beings, our heart is not always right. I know
well,
mine isn't
well,
all
look,
the
I
time,
served.
so.
I was an altar server since I was in elementary school.
Hmm.
I won the Cardinal Carter's Award. I had all the altar servers awards. I continued serving, but yet when I was a mechanic, I was still serve on Sundays, and
Hmm.
yet I
Yeah.
was not living the life of a good Christian
Hmm.
as a mechanic, right? So I was out clubbing, I was out partying, I was out drinking, you know. So it wasn't like, then the next day on Sunday, I'd be up to go to
Yeah, I
mass.
think we were pretty much all like that growing up, pretty much. But it's interesting because you always go back, and that's why I give props to, I'm sure, your parents. You always go back to your roots. They always say that whatever your family instilled in you. And then when you have different life experiences like losses, if you know people that have passed away or different things like that, then it really wakes you up even more to have that question. Well, is there really a God? Is there not? Like, what happens after? Is this just it, or is there more, you
Yeah, and
know?
I hear that quite often
Mhm.
in what I do, right? So I do a lot of funerals, and I do funerals and weddings and baptisms, and usually it's during the funerals and things like that. Family members that come to the funeral out of respect for the deceased who was Catholic, they end up coming and talking to me and asking me about what I might have said in the homily, and then they ask more questions about what I mean by life doesn't end, only changes, right? What do I
Mhm.
mean by the 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 sting of death is conquered by the resurrection of Christ? What do I mean? So it's just an opportunity to unpack what I believe. They can either believe it or not,
Mhm.
but they're asking me the question, and I just answer what I hold and believe, right? So
So this is kind of a deep question. It's something that I struggled with, like losing so many friends at such a young age. Because I used to be petrified of death. Now I'm not so much anymore. Um, but how do you feel when it comes to death? Like, I know when we were talking, you mentioned that you did a wedding in one day and then you did a funeral the same day. I'm like, wow, you really have to switch your mindset doing a wedding and then a funeral same day, right? But what are your views on like death? Like, do you feel like you just kind of, you know, go go to heaven, or like breathe into a next life, or what do you,
well,
like, are you afraid you're not afraid of it, I'm assuming, or
no,
are you? I don't know.
I've had I've had a couple heart attacks. I've been
Oh, wow.
in the hospital, and people have asked if I was scared. Like the nurses were like, "A young guy like you, usually you're scared." Like in 2015 was my first one. Like, and they'd be
Hmm.
like, "A young guy like you, most of them are scared." And I'm like, "No, I mean, if it's my time, it's my time." But really, our faith is centered on the resurrection of Christ. And if Christ didn't rise from the dead, then you can be scared that death is the final thing. But our Lord Jesus actually, by rising from the dead, gives us a way, or looking. We can look at there's more. It's that whole thing about life not ending but only changing. And I mean, even scientists are trying to prove things like, like how energy once created can't be destroyed, and that energy they call energy, we call the source of life, we call our soul, which God infuses in our bodies. It never dies; it only changes, right?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it says to be absent from the body is to be present with the Lord. And I think that's in Second Corinthians, but I'm not a Bible scholar, so don't quote me on that one. But it's something that really has stuck to me like through the years and just seeing incredible things, like, just seeing incredible, like spiritual things. Like, I feel like I've also really have seen with friends or just in my travels, like a lot of interesting experiences. So that's why I definitely believe. But I'm always curious, and just for other people out there that are kind of like, I don't know, or people that are atheist, or people that
Yeah,
are,
I mean,
just
yeah,
not really sure.
faith is something hard to like. I can tell you why I believe something.
Hmm.
Um, but unless it's experience, like unless you experience something from your for your own self, and that conversion happens in your heart, I can. St. Thomas Aquinas said, "Those who have faith, no explanation is required. Those without faith, no explanation will suffice." So I can tell you why I believe, and it's an opportunity for you to accept it or not accept it, right? So, I
Yeah, you
mean,
can never force anything, your beliefs on anyone. It's
and there's just
yeah.
way too many things that I've seen that I
Hmm.
know that there's a supernatural that exists. One,
Hmm.
and two, even in the history of the church, we like if you go back to the history of the Roman Catholic Church, there are apparitions of Mary, Mother Mary, like at Fatima, at Lourdes, at Guadalupe, and these are apparitions of seeing Mother Mary. That's Jesus's mother.
Hmm.
If she was dead and there was no coming, death is it. Then how do we account for the fact that those were real apparitions? They
Hmm.
were really seen, right? And it was really Mary. And so when the church went to go find out whether it was true or false, they're not using Catholic scientists. They're using atheists. They're using the secular world to first find out, is it natural or not natural? If they can't explain it naturally, then they try to explain it on a theological basis.
Yeah,
Right?
I think there's certain things science can explain. Science can explain a lot of things, but just my opinion, I don't think science can explain like birth, like a baby in a womb. And there's just so many things. And even I feel like as I'm reading even today, it feels like it literally, I don't care if people think I'm crazy, literally the Bible is coming to life. Like that's how I feel. Every time I'm reading pages of it, I'm like, whoa, we're literally living in some times where we're seeing a lot of different things and a lot of things happening at a rapid speed. So it just kind of makes me appreciate and makes me want to get back uh, to that faith, like spend more time there.
Mhm.
Because I agree, having those experiences too, you feel different, like, being in a club or DJing or partying or being on stage, or it's like the world teaches and you're constantly bombarded with those messages. Even online, if you're trying to build a business, you're always bombarded with those messages like, do this, gain followers, gain this. And there's nothing wrong with that. But I just feel like life is so much more than than ourselves, you know? And you got to constantly check yourself in this industry like daily, especially if you're on a stage or a DJ. So that kind of leads me to my other question I had for you. You know, like many DJs, performers, celebrities, a lot of them are passing away right now. Like streamers are suffering, you know, from anxiety, depression. Their worth seems to be based on performance. How would you say that your faith plays a role in balancing that all out now that you're actually streaming too and you're kind of in this world as well? How do you balance that out, and how do you encourage other people that are kind of on that mission to do, you know, to kind of maybe look up and not look, you know, to ourselves? Like, how do you, what would you say to them, I guess, to also give them encouragement? Because this, I've interviewed a lot of streamers, and you know, some have talked about really struggling with mental health and different things, and it can be trippy because you constantly pleasing people in front of you. It's like celebrities, right? I don't know how many are actually happy. You know, like if you look at Prince, Whitney Houston, you look at so many that have passed away. Um, you know, how many are actually really happy in everything that they accumulated during their life, right? So, what would you say to kind of balance out uh, to help people, and what helps yourself now being in this industry too?
Well, I guess for what helps myself is, I guess the reason why I even started to stream is a big thing because I never say compare one another because we're all from different backgrounds and different reasons why we got into maybe streaming. So some DJs got into it because there was no work and they had to find a a means of supporting themselves, right? So they got
Hmm.
into Twitch to DJ. Some DJs got into it because they love music and they just wanted to play the music. There's always a reason why we do things. So if your reason for doing things is based on something that's finite, it will eventually deplete. It will eventually go away. You know, if it's for the love of music, love is for example, love itself is a concept that's a universal concept, right?
Hmm.
So that's why like people that do it just for the love of music, you'll see they'll continue to do it, they'll work hard. They might not get anything or any money and they're still doing it. Musicians do it all the time. Artists do it all the time. They do it purely out of love, right? So the reason I started this show is
Hmm.
because it's part of my ministry. So my love of God and love of neighbor as a priest. So to also evangelize, to also be an extension, to know that I know that we live in a broken world and people need prayers. I know
Hmm.
and so House of God was formed in the center of prayer, and then music was around it. Like the thought of it was first from DJ Spen. When I heard DJ Spen playing Gospel House, I was like, oh yeah, that's interesting. Like my friend told me to follow him, but then when I heard him stop and give some words of wisdom and include Christ in it, I thought this is a great vehicle for evangelizing, not catechizing, because I didn't want to show where I would sit down and then give you the doctrine. That's catechizing,
Hmm.
teach.
Hmm. Hmm.
I wanted more of a show where I know people of all faiths can come and pray, right? And to at least turn back to God and to pray. And I know the world was hurting. I know the world is broken, and I know lots of people need prayers. And once you give them that opportunity, that's what I was just focused on first. So that's why it was House of God. And I thought, okay, so how would I make it interesting to bring people that are maybe not Christian or not religious to come in, and then maybe eventually they'll join in. Maybe they'll have something that they want to pray for. They might not believe, but they might say, pray for this anyways, please. And we would still pray for them.
Hmm.
So it was just a tool for evangelizing. And like I always say, whether one person shows up, it's for that one person, right? Uh,
Hmm.
whatever the prayer is for that one person at 6:30. That's maybe if it's only one person that shows up. But like I said, I have a lot of people that support me. I have people from the parish. My mods, a lot of my
Hmm.
mods are from my parish. They're already Eucharistic ministers, lectors. They're helping in some form or matter. They serve. They serve in the church, and they're
Hmm.
willing to serve also in this capacity. As for me, my mods are not moderators; they're hospitality ministers.
Hmm.
That they're administering Christ's hospitality by greeting people in and welcoming them and making them feel welcomed in, just like you would in a church, right?
Yeah, for sure. I feel like that is true discipleship. I think when you look up the word disciples, like what does a disciple mean? And it means being amongst the people, like serving people, and also if you're a leader, being a servant leader, just connecting with people and connecting with people where they're at as well. So I think that's really great. It's kind of unconventional. And they say like TikTok, Instagram, this whole virtual day and age, we're going into this virtual world. So that kind of is the new evangelism as well. Do you ever get any heat by people in the church? Like, I know when you do something very different, there can be some heat with some people that may not agree with, like, say, playing music or how you conduct a show or what you're doing because it's very outside the box. Have you ever received any heat from anyone?
No one that, no one that.
Sonia. I was gonna mention Sonia, but I didn't want to call her out. I'm like, Sonia. I'm like, I'm
No,
like,
I
you
don't.
got a you got a heathen in there as well, Sonia. No, I'm just joking. I'm just joking,
I
Sonia.
joke with Sonia all the time on her stream. I'd be like, what is 69? Her number 69. And she would be like, she'd be so nervous, like I don't know what to.
But I
I
think
just.
it's just accepting people, yeah, where they're at. And I think the love, when you love people authentically and genuinely, I feel like that's showing God's love. But you're not perfect. Like I'm not perfect, myself. So sometimes people hold you to that. But I think definitely that's what I'm learning. Because that was actually my prayer in quarantine. Like, God, like, how do I love people? I don't think I know how to love them correctly. I could be a hothead. I could have a bit of a temper sometimes. I'm like, how can I, like, what can I do
It's
to
a way.
like
It's a way.
love
It's a way.
people? And then
It's a
he'll
way.
send me all kinds of people my way. And I'm just like, oh, are you serious? This is a test.
Yeah,
So
we're supposed to love people the way Jesus loved people.
yeah.
The point of forgiving them, for the
Hmm.
point of to death, right? Dying for them, even
Yeah.
if they don't deserve it. But to answer your question, no, I haven't gotten real heat from anyone that matters. Meaning, when I say but that matters, everyone matters. But in terms of for me as a priest, my bishop, um, no other priest, the chancellor, no one said anything.
Hmm.
There are a few people in the diocese, like some priests come on my show, and even some seminarians with the seminary faculty come on to watch me play, right?
Wow. That's awesome.
Because
That's
once
good.
again, like I'm not playing hardcore rap. I'm not playing like crunk music or anything,
Yes,
right?
he was, guys. He was playing it on Tuesday. You guys just didn't see.
Tuesday or Wednesday, you mean?
Yeah. I don't know. I'm not sure. Yeah, I play that sometimes. Not all the time, but sometimes. Hip
Yeah,
hop.
like
Hip hop.
I mean, for the most part, they'll come on. Like if they do pop in, they'll pop in
Mhm.
on the Sunday house of God,
Mhm.
and they'll be there. Like I was so surprised, like my because I'm also a spiritual director, and
Mhm.
I had spiritual directees that are in the seminary to becoming priests, and they come on and they'd be like, hey, it's me, blah blah blah, and I'm surprised. I'm like, hey, aren't you supposed to be in the seminary? Are you
Mhm.
supposed to be watching this stuff? And then they're like, yeah, Father Edwin is here watching it. Like he's the rector of the seminary. Like, oh, hey, Father Edwin, and you just like uh, like their fellow brother priests. I know them. It's not like they're gonna say anything bad. It's like if I was swearing or something scandalous, yes, but
Hmm.
it's not. So
Yeah. So then, like, have you noticed? Because I know in the middle of your show, so he does a show called House of God, guys. It's a house show, really incredible. Make sure everyone in the room adds Father Damien. If you guys want to throw up his link again, I'll post it. Just trying to scroll up and find it. But if you could repost it, that would be great. And I'll post it on here, or just maybe just the link, because this will cover his head.
all
um,
right here.
yeah, there we go. There we go. We both got to go because we're only pushing 5 feet here. Like, we both got to go like this, Father Damien.
You're just seeing
Oh,
my bald head.
yeah, we're both small for sure. Um, so so he does a House of God show, and in the middle of his show, he asks if anyone has any prayer requests, which I think is really truly awesome. Has there been anything that you've heard? And that's why I mentioned to you, you should have, well, we call them praise reports. So if if someone has requested something and they've received like healing, or something, they got a new job or something amazing happened, they
Yeah,
would mention it. You should definitely do that, because it's encouraging to see that
I mean,
prayers
it
actually
is.
answer
It
get
is.
answered.
There's one thing I can just tell you that it does happen,
Hmm.
but oftentimes when people whisper me, it's because they don't want public to know. So
Okay,
there's a
yeah,
confidentiality that's there that I kind of respect them for that, and respect their confidentiality, that they don't want everyone knowing
true.
what their issue is. And then if
Yeah,
that was healed, or if that was resolved because of prayer, they will contact me and let me know. But I don't. I respect their anonymity, that they don't want
yeah.
people to know. So,
Unless if you say if
oh yeah,
anyone would like to.
oh yeah. Like if
Um,
they want to give a testimony, they can say
mhm.
it in the chat, right?
Yeah,
Give a
because it definitely
testimony.
encourages people. So since you've started it, like, you've had a flood of requests in your chat room. Like, I'm always blown away when I'm reading all the requests. I'm like, wow, there's so many people in need, like with sickness, with losses, losing a job, losing family members. Like, there's so much in this season, direction, purpose, even knowing, like, is God even there for us? Like, does he even care for us? Just seeing all those requests every time I'm in your chat, reading them, it really touches my heart as well, because these are real people. These aren't just user IDs. They're really going through things. So have you seen anything from when you first started your show up until now, like anything kind of incredible with those, like, requests, or just seeing, you
Yeah,
know, with
there were a few that contacted me back, that said that their prayers were answered.
Mhm,
Um, some people had friends or relatives that were in coma from COVID, and they came out of it through prayer.
mhm,
Some people had, looking for a job or whatever it might be. So yeah, they have those things stand out uh, to me. But what stands out more is also other people that have reached out, to go beyond just prayer, but maybe even counseling, or talking about something, a loss, or
mhm,
grieving, right? And just to reach out to talk about that. And I've called people, yeah, even if they're not in our country, or I've reached out, like through Zoom, or Google Meets,
mhm,
um, for counseling, or for talking, just like a loss that they might have had, and coping with that, and their way of coping with loss. So the things that I would normally do as a priest in person, I'm doing virtually for people around the world, right? So
Yeah, that's awesome. Now, how would I'm always curious to see how other people think on this, right? How do you see your relationship with God and how he loves others? Like, do you think he cracks the whip? Do you think he's got a sense of humor? Like, do you think he loves people where they're at? Like, what's your views
well,
on
I
that?
think I think there well, the major view is, yes, he loves you where you're at, but he calls you for holiness, right? So I
Hmm.
always remember the passage in John's Gospel. After Jesus rose from the dead, he meets up with Peter and he says, "Peter, son of Jonah, do you love me?" And Peter says, "Yes, Lord, you know I love you." "Peter, son of Jonah, do you love me?" "Yes, Lord, I love you." And he says, like, "Tend my sheep, feed my sheep, tend my flock," right? So he said, asks three times if Peter loves him. Peter says, "Yes, Lord," three times. And the last time he's kind of saddened. But we're reading that in the English. If you
Hmm.
read it in the Greek, Jesus says this. So there's three different types of love: eros, philia, agape. So eros is the lowest type of love, where it's the love that affects your passion. So I love Coke Zero, right?
Hmm.
So I drink it, it affects my passion. I say I love it. That's where we get mixed up sometimes with relationships. It makes us feel good, and we say we love this person.
Hmm.
The next highest one is philia, which is a passion, a love that we can reason to. So a brother. So we talk about brotherly love, Philadelphia, right? Philia is love, and Delphos is brother. So philia is the second type of love. It's higher. So we come to know this. I love you because you are a human being. I'm a human being, right? And the third and the highest one is agape love, which is a total self gift, unconditional love, for one to the other. And that's the love that Christ has for us. And that's in the Greek. If you read that scripture passage, Jesus says, "Peter, son of Jonah, do you agape me?" In the Greek, it says agape. And Peter responds, "Yes, Lord, I philia you." Very profound. And then Jesus says, "Feed my sheep." And then the second time he says, "Peter, son of Jonah, do you agape me?" And Peter says, "Yes, Lord, I philia you." Then Jesus says, "Tend my sheep." And then the third time, Jesus says, "Peter, son of Jonah, do you?" And most people think he's saying agape. He says, "Do you philia me?" He came down to the type of love that he knew Peter can give. But eventually, Peter ends up giving his life for Christ, agapeing him. So he's calling him to agape love, but then he meets him at the philia love, the love that he can give. And then later on in his life, Peter develops that love so that he can agape, fully give himself in that love. And I think that's how God comes to us, right? He comes to our level, but he says, "No, we're broken, we're here. We're called to
Hmm.
be up here. And don't settle for mediocrity, because we know that he knows that we can get up to this point, right? And so we should never just stop. Our love is meant for agape, not for eros or philia, but let's go. We can do it.
That's so true. Thank you so much for that. That was a great explanation, on what love truly is. I think this world truly needs it. It's
And
definitely,
you should call aisle 2 agape aisle, because
yeah,
literally for marriage, that's what's required in marriage is agape.
exactly.
And
Yeah.
anything less, like when I counsel couples, or I'm doing the annulment process and stuff like that, it's always because they have less than agape love in their
Yeah,
marriage.
I agree. I feel like two people need to be like whole, but that could take a lifetime to get to. But both two people really need to be serving, God in order to serve each other unselfishly because we live in such a society where it's like extremely selfish, we can all be selfish, right? Without like God in us or looking to him, I think. Do you think that's why relationships fail like quite a bit? Like there's just so much divorce and so much. Is it just they're not on the same page with like love languages, or would
Well,
you just say,
from what I
hmm,
see in terms of the cases I see,
hmm,
um, it's not so much about love language, because love.
hmm,
So the love language, those different types of love
the
language,
five different love
touch,
languages?
feel,
Yeah.
whatever. I would never go by that, because
No?
we should be sharing, because those are all about feelings, right? Those are all
Hmm.
that gears on eros.
Mm-hmm.
That's the
Mm-hmm.
lowest type of love, right? That is actually the lowest type of love, eros. And once everything goes, then you have nothing to actually have a greater foundation on. If it's really about making your significant other feel good, then that's really like a superficial type of love that your marriage is built on. But if it's more about, so agape love is the act of the will. So the act of the will chooses to love the other person even when they're not deserving of it. So, that's a difference. That's why Jesus, when he says, forgive your enemy, it's only the act of agape that can do that, to choose to forgive your enemy. It's an act of the will, not the act of your feeling or passion, and not the act of reason, because they might not, you can logically think that they don't deserve it, and you can be logically right, but it's the act of the will to love that other person.
That's so true. Hey, I just wanted to say thank you. I missed this, guys. I think
Oh,
it was like 20 minutes ago. So I'm not sure if Risky Ringo is still in the building. I think he left, but thank you so much, Risky Ringo, for subscribing to my show, and also Winston, looking at another computer here, and Lang Louis for those bits. Thank you guys so much for your support. I appreciate that. I see DJ Jonah and everyone else that slipped in the room. We're definitely having a deep conversation here. That's great that you mentioned that too. It gives me a different angle, to think of. So now we're going back, we're going to go into some heavy stuff, but I also wanted to go back, rewind it back into aisle two, guys, since he did bring it up. I always bug Father Damien. I don't know if it actually bugs him, but, aisle two is always looking, at least in my section of the grocery store. Everyone has an aisle two in the world. I always talk about finding love in aisle two, or restoring that love in aisle two if you're in a relationship, because there's so many people that are broken, have broken relationships right now. It's been very tough, the pandemic, right? So I'm just always amazed. Not like you need anyone, because I've been single for a minute. I won't say how long, but it's been a minute, but like a long minute. But I'm always amazed that Father Damien chose this calling, being a priest. So that means he could never, ever get an aisle two, ever. So I'm just curious, did that, okay, let's be honest. Let's have a real honest conversation. Did that ever kind of phase you? Like, oh my gosh, if I become a priest, I'll never marry. Like, I'll never go on a date. Like, did that give you a little bit, just a tiny little bit of anxiety, or not really?
no, I've been on dates. I've had girlfriends, but now there's several things, like, so I guess it's more complex than that. The one thing is for sure, I knew without a shadow of a doubt that I was called to the priesthood for the Archdiocese of Toronto. So whatever that meant, and in the Roman Rite, that means celibacy. So not all Catholic priests are celibate. So
Oh, I thought
there
they
are
all, you couldn't.
no, it's only in the Roman Rite. So we have different rites
Mm-hmm.
in the church. So we have Eastern Rite Catholics, and the Western Church, which is Roman. So it's a practice in the Roman, it's a discipline in the Roman Rite that the priests are celibate. But if you were a Greek Catholic or Ukrainian Catholic, you could get married before being a priest.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's not. It was, so that's the first misunderstanding that people have.
Yeah.
That Catholic priests can't get married. No, Roman Catholic priests choose not to get married. They take on celibacy. Now, the second thing is, remember I was just saying you should change that from aisle two to agape aisle. Because what's required in marriage is agape love. But everyone is called to agape love, not just in marriage.
Yes, for sure.
So in the priesthood, it is a marriage. It is a marriage, a total self. So when we don't, so to make an analogy, I saw a commercial where a woman buys her dad an iPad,
Mm-hmm.
and she's like, "Dad, aren't you using my iPad?" And he's like, "Yeah, I use it every day." Have you seen this commercial?
No, I haven't seen that.
And
No.
and then the commercial pans into what the father is doing. He's cooking, but he's using the iPad as the chopping board.
Hmm.
He's using it in the wrong way that it's meant to be used. For us as human beings, we're called to love. And to that love is actually agape love, because we are made in the image and likeness of God, and God is love, agape
Mm-hmm.
love. So we are
Mm-hmm.
called to love in the sense of giving ourselves fully to one another, and to not just and to give ourselves fully and unconditionally love, right?
Mm-hmm.
Some of us are called to love in a particular way, one on one person, to give that completely to one person. Some
Mm-hmm.
are called to love in a universal way. So I give that same type of love universally to God first and people. And those are the two greatest commandments: love God, love neighbor. So I'm fulfilling those two the way I'm supposed to.
True.
And
How
that's
did
why
your parents feel that like
they don't
say
have
that?
grandkids. They have
No, but
grandkids.
how did they feel about it? Because they're what, Guyanese? So I'm just assuming like they would
Well,
want their son or to get married and, typical family. Like, how did they feel about it initially? Like,
I don't know.
oh, you don't know? You never asked? You never asked your parents?
No, because what someone feels about it wouldn't really affect anyways. Like what
What
I feel.
happens if God changes it? Like, I always bug you on this one.
Yep, and
Like,
I know
but do
100%.
you think that it could be possible? Do you think
Well,
maybe possibly
I
it'd be
know I know
divine nature?
100%, and I don't know if you want me to share
Hmm.
the sort of miracle that happened. Why I know
Sure.
100% why I know without any shadow of a doubt that I'm called to be a priest here in the Archdiocese of Toronto.
Yeah, not
So
trying to change you. I don't
no
I
no
don't
no
I don't
no
I don't
no.
want a rap sheet up
Oh,
there. Like, I don't I want.
believe me. No, there's there's no way I can ever, like, when you see something, it's
Yeah.
hard for you to say something is not true when you see it. So if you saw
Oh, I
the
get
face
that.
of if you saw the face of God, it
Mhm.
would be impossible for you to say God does not exist. You can
True.
make a lot of reasons of saying I don't want to follow God, but you can
Mhm.
never say that God does not exist if you see that God exists,
Mhm.
right? So
That's
this is
very
just one of
true.
those evidence, like the there's a movie called what was it? It was the Risen or something like that, where basically it's the centurion's looking for the body of Jesus, and then he encounters the risen Lord, but he's interviewing all the disciples and all the apostles, and they're all saying, "We have seen him." Oh yeah, once you've seen him, you know he's risen, right? You can't deny it. Like, we can't prove it, but we also can't deny that this is true. So so when I was thinking about becoming a priest, I started telling some of the older ladies that are in the church that, oh, I think God's calling me to be a priest, and they're like, oh yeah, so what order?
Hmm.
And I was like confused. What do you mean, what order? Isn't it just order of the priest? And they're like, no, there's like the Franciscans, there's the Dominicans, there's the Jesuits, there's the and you've heard
Oh,
all these
wow.
names before.
Yeah.
There's like so many different religious orders, and you can be a priest for any of those religious orders. And I'm like, I have no idea. And I'm like 24 turning 25, and I have no idea. I'm like, I don't know. I thought it's just
Mhm.
order of the priest. And then I ended up asking one of the deacon at my church, how did you know you want to be a deacon? Like, how do you know? Like, and he said, pray to God and ask him to answer your prayer, and he will answer it. So I went at the time I was living my parents had given me the basement. So I was down there, and I had a little corner where I put the crucifix, and I would pray and write. And I did a rosary. I prayed the rosary, and then I said a prayer to God, and I said, God, look, I said yes, I will be a priest. I say yes to your call as a priest. Where do you want me to go? What order? And at the time, I was in the basement, but I didn't have my desk from when I was at my childhood desk when I was in high school. It was upstairs in my parents' bed, in my bedroom, my old bedroom.
Mm-hmm.
And so I went to go get it and bring it down so I can start to journal and start to write. And so it has like a bookshelf. So I removed all the books, carried the bookshelf down. Then I was taking down the desk myself, right? So I carried it down the stairs myself. So I emptied the drawers. So there's one middle drawer, and then there's like 3 side drawers, right? So there's one long drawer and then 3 side drawers on the left side. So I take out the drawers and I throw out everything. At the time, I thought I just throw out the clutter, like pens that don't work, paper and stuff like that. Just throw it away. So I got to the last drawer at the very bottom,
Mm-hmm.
pulled it out, started dumping all the content into a garbage bag. And when I flipped it over, there was a piece of paper stuck in the back. And then I just kept on trying to get it to fall, and it wouldn't. So then I pulled it out. And when I pulled it out, it was an application form for the Archdiocese of Toronto St. Augustine Seminary.
Oh man.
And I asked my mom and dad, how did it get there? They didn't know. I didn't know. And we moved
Wow.
at home, and that was brand new furniture since grade 8, since I was in grade 8. So I'm like, I don't know. No one knows how it got there. It just got there. The answer was right there. It was clear. It was an application form for the Archdiocese of Toronto.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, well, that's a pretty good sign.
Yeah, that is pretty that is you get signs in such incredible ways. Like it's so crazy how
Like
that works,
slapped in
you
my
know?
face. I mean, there's no way I could deny it. And I never doubted and never denied it while I was in the seminary.
Yeah.
There's so many seminarians that would be like, I don't know, Lord, is it really what you're calling me? Is it this?
But
Is
does
it
it
that?
become difficult? Like, okay, I agree, not everyone's made for a relationship either. Hey, yo, baby, I see you. How you doing? Great to see you. You guys, she's got an amazing book with her husband. She was the last interview I did before I went MIA for 2 months. So make sure you add yo, baby as well. And they actually write a book. They've been married 25 plus years and wrote a book on marriage, which, is incredible. So make sure you guys add her as well. Yeah. So, I mean, not everyone is made for marriage or relationships, but does it, is it like ever hard? Like, I'm just so curious because, like you're giving so much to people and pouring it out. And then it's like you have God by your side. I can't say you have no one there, but do you ever have those moments where you're like, it would be nice to have someone like sharing this purpose with? Like, do you ever have those moments or no?
No, I have the moments where it's quite opposite. I want
Hmm.
actually, because um, I'm bombarded with so many things, right?
Hmm.
So
True.
I
Yeah.
get calls from the police because I'm with York Regional Police as a chaplain. I get parishioners that are calling or sending emails, different things that are going on. I get called to the hospitals, called to different
It's
places,
a lot.
all around. Plus, on top of that, doing the Twitch channel, right? So
Yeah, it's a lot. Yeah. Okay,
I
we're gonna
literally, yeah, I literally just wait for the day when I'm by myself and okay, I can,
No,
okay.
that's true. I get it. I totally get it. I will leave aisle 2, kept in aisle 2, but you gave us some great advice for it,
Oh
so
yeah,
I
but I
appreciate
am
that.
we are all called for agape love.
Yes, I
And
agree. I agree.
if you're not doing it in your life, you will
Mhm.
feel unfulfilled.
Yeah,
So see,
100%.
yeah, that's what our hearts are made for. And when we don't do it, we feel unfulfilled. So
Exactly.
because I am living out agape love and
Mhm.
giving myself fully,
Mhm.
I'm fulfilled. I don't feel I need anything more. I don't feel it. I don't feel
It's so
really.
true. So true. I want to say also thanks, Joan as well for those bits earlier, and Winston as well. Thank you guys. Appreciate it. And yeah, so we're going to move on to a different question. Sonia asked, did you ask him about his favorite coffee?
Yes, American a music lover knows it. It's
Yeah.
Americano.
Oh, yeah, you have a coffee machine.
I have a
Yeah,
Keurig. I have
right?
a
I
Keurig
think
in the
over
back,
there, right?
but that doesn't do Americano.
Oh,
That doesn't do Americano.
oh no?
Americano
Oh,
is,
okay.
if you don't know what Americano is, it's a couple shots of espresso with
Cool.
steamed
Couple.
water.
Wow, you sound Italian, like my Italian clients. They have like 8 shots a day. Oh
Well,
man.
yeah, like yeah, there's one place I found out I went to. Um, so and I've been in Rome and Siena and Florence, and they have good espressos and good Americanos. And this one place I went to, it's off of Avenue Road here in Toronto, and it is the best tasting Americano I've ever tasted. Um, and I tried to go back there, but I didn't know what if they were Middle Eastern, what they were. It's a Jewish cafe
Oh, that's interesting.
because they were closed yesterday because of Yom Kippur.
Yeah.
So I rode my motorcycle down there to meet up with a DJ,
Hmm.
and it was closed. I'm like,
Oh
oh,
man.
I
Yeah.
was I was expecting a nice Americano, but it is what it is.
Yeah. I didn't know it was a few shots. I thought it was just like one or something. That's strong.
No, depending on the size. So if it's a small size, there might just be one shot. Like if it's
Hmm.
so in the I guess in the what is it called? Starbucks sizes. So
Hmm.
if it's a venti, it will be 4 shots. If it's a grande, I think it's 3 or 2 shots.
Hmm.
And then if it's a tall, I think it's only 1 shot.
Oh, okay. Nice. Yeah, that's good. That's pretty cool. So so how are you liking your show? How long has it been on Twitch for you? And also how did you get on Twitch too? Because I know you know tons of DJs in
Well,
the city. Do you like Tim Hortons as well?
music lover.
I don't know. I think I like Tim's better than Starbucks. I find Starbucks so strong.
Actually, you know
The
which is
coffee.
good is surprising is McDonald's coffee.
McDonald's, yeah, McDonald's
McDonald's
hands down, guys.
Americano is also pretty good,
Yeah.
but Tim Hortons their Americano is not good.
Hmm.
No, it tastes.
And they're from Brazil. They're not even Canadian. They're a Brazilian company.
Tim
Did you know
Hortons.
that? Yeah, it's not Canadian. It's
I
owned
thought
by
the
a
hockey
Brazil
player.
company.
I thought the hockey player owned it. Canadian hockey player Tim Horton.
No, it changed years ago. Some place in
Oh,
Brazil owns it. So it's all Brazilian owned,
oh,
AKA Canadian. A lot of Canadians think it's Canadian. It isn't anymore. Yeah, but
okay. Well, no. So going to your question in regards to getting into to
like onto Twitch, like just for because I know you know a lot of DJs and everything. So how did you get on Twitch? How did that work?
well the circle the what happened was during COVID, like in Toronto we had a lot of lockdowns,
Hmm.
right? So the first in 2020, it was it 2020 was the first lockdown, right? It was
I don't know.
April.
I feel like I've been locked down forever. I still feel like I'm locked down.
I think okay, 2020 was when COVID hit, and
Yeah,
then Canada, Toronto, and Canada locked down pretty
harsh. I'm
severe
talking harsh
in April.
lockdowns,
In
guys.
April,
We had
in
the
April
harshest
for
in the
about like
world. Did
for
you know
like
that?
3 or 4 months. For 3 or 4 months, so I started a YouTube channel, Ask Father D, where I'd
Hmm.
be riding my motorcycle. Good night, and chai. Good night.
Have a good
Thank
night,
you.
Inchai. Thanks for coming through. We appreciate you. I
We
know
will
it's late
dance
in the
together
UK.
for sure.
Yeah.
Um, and
Dance
and
5 feet apart, inch high. Dance 5, 10 feet apart. He can't be
no,
in aisle two.
no,
So
you
you
have to
gotta
leave
dance
room
like
for the
this.
leave room for the Holy Spirit. Hands
It's
out,
in the
leave room
middle.
for the Holy Spirit in the middle. Yeah.
Or Sonia
Um,
could be in the middle, one of your mods. There you go.
yeah. So basically, what was I saying? Lost
Your
my-
motorcycle. You're riding
oh,
your
oh yeah. So
motorcycle.
I did a moto vlog,
Oh,
and
I
then
should have
and then
grabbed a picture of your motorcycle. I should have
and then
posted it.
everything opened up again, right?
Hmm.
And so I went back into doing parish ministry and doing different things. So I stopped doing the YouTube stuff, and then we went back again on during that Christmas, December. We went back again on another lockdown,
Hmm.
and at that time I was with my friend DJ KC. He comes to our church. He's one of the ushers at 5 p.m. And after the 5 p.m. mass, we go in the back by the garage. We smoke a cigar, have some dinner. And around that time, around December, January, his friends were all getting ready and doing on Twitch, like DJ Agile, DJ Channel 9. So these guys were all on 83 West. They were all on Twitch, and they're saying, hey, he started following them. And they're like, they recognized them, and they were talking to him, saying, hey, you should get on Twitch. You should do this. You should go back onto it. And at the time, he was doing a few odd things. Like he was doing iMix. Because he works full time. So he's no longer, he used to be a radio DJ. And
you keep talking. I gotta grab something for you. I just thought of, but you keep sharing the story. I'll be right back. Okay.
Not your Batman mask. So he
no, I gotta get something else. But you keep talking to them.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he was a radio DJ, and instead of so his friends were telling him to go online, to go on this Twitch. So he was telling me about that, and I'm like, yeah, if you go on, I'll follow you. And I was following DJ Tricky Marrera at the time also. And so I started following them. And what ended up happening is after a few months, I was modding for DJ Casey. And then after a few months, DJ Casey said to me, you should look at DJ Spen. Sonia, I just saw that Batman mask. So so I looked at DJ Spen, I followed him, and then I thought, hey, you know what? He's praying in the middle, or he's like giving a spiritual talk. It would be a great vehicle to use Twitch to be able to pray, have other people pray, to come on and pray. And so that's how my channel started. And I started my channel October 31st will be 1 year. 1 year ago, October 31st will be the official launch of House of God. And she's still away. Now you see the chat. LOL. Yes, now I see the chat. Because I'm not looking at Honeyflow, I'm looking at the chat now.
Oh, shoot, it didn't work. I was trying to match you. I was trying to get a suit jacket. So we could both match. I was trying to get like my actual suit jacket, but I couldn't find it. I was like, wait a second. We could both match today.
The easier one would have been you just put a black shirt on and then cut out a white thing and put it on.
Yeah, I was trying to get one of my business suit jackets, but I think since I left the corporate world, guys, I threw them out. I threw most of my shoulder padded suit jackets away. But I was trying to do that so we could match today. There we go.
Close enough.
Hey, Junior, how's it going? I'm joining the priest. Is there? I guess there's no women. Never mind. Is it the convent? Becoming a nun.
You can become a nun, yes.
Actually, I told my mom about you, and she's like, tell him I was going to become a nun when I was younger. That's what my mom said. You guys got to understand my mom. She was like, did everything in the book, like the worst player ever, growing up. My mom still, I call her Zsa Zsa Gabor, if you guys know who that is, someone with the fancy fur jackets and, yeah, but she's like, yeah, tell him I wanted to become a nun. I was like, please, you? Anyways, off topic. But yeah, I was trying to find a jacket while you were talking, so I missed a bit of your story there. That's okay.
Basically, to answer your question, October 31st will be my 1 year Twitch anniversary.
Oh, wow. Okay, so
and I will be doing a special stream on October 31st.
Awesome.
It's on the Monday. And
where do you...
Sorry? Where
do you see yourself going, like, after, I guess, like, after a year? Like, what do you want your channel to kind of look like and be? What do you see for yourself, do you think?
I don't know. I really don't know. I don't think about it. I just, every time I go on, I pray and offer it up to God and I say, this is your channel, not mine. And whatever he does, he does.
Yeah, that's awesome. One thing I was going to mention, okay, I'm going to take this off because obviously not joining anything, but one thing to say is I know that you also do the chaplain police, which is huge out here. You must encounter a lot of crazy stories too. Is there any ones that you could kind of share with us, like that, without, because I know you got to keep things confidential, but I know just dealing with police officers, I feel like they don't get a lot of respect too. Like you always hear negative stories of officers, but never the positive news of what they're doing. And they have a really hard job too. A lot of them out there serving the community. Is there kind of something that you see aligning when you're working with a lot of the Toronto police in York Region?
Well, I work with York Region, not with Toronto, but
Yeah, York Region. Yeah, I was gonna say.
but what I notice is it's not. I mean, I relate with them in the sense that, when I first wanted to become a priest, it was right around 2000, 2001.
Mhm.
And that's when all the scandals in Boston and all those things started coming out, right? And there's an image that people have of certain things, and we have, sometimes as human beings, we have a tendency to generalize and to throw people into categories when we don't really know who the person is. So yeah, like we judge our police, Canadian police, the same as in the States, and there's two different types of training, and there's mentalities are so different. I mean, we know, like, usually typically, like, we can generalize like a Canadian is like, not just by saying a, but
Mhm.
we're usually apologizing for things that, oh, I'm sorry, right?
That is kind of true. We do that all the time. Someone
We are,
steps on my foot, I'm saying
I'm
sorry.
sorry,
Like,
or we're very polite people, right? For the most part, we are. And the world has seen that over and over time again. But but so sometimes what people will do is they'll see what's in the media that happens around the world in different places,
mhm. Yeah.
and they will say, okay, this is how these people are exactly. So I relate with the police when they come to me because like us British are kind.
I feel
Well,
like all the British people I've met on Twitch have been so lovely. They use the word lovely. I like that. Or so brilliant. I like that word too. I don't. I always hear something different from British too, but I don't find that experience. I find everyone very friendly and polite.
yeah, and those are the
Yeah.
people. Those are the people we encounter. But I'm sure
Hmm.
there'll be someone. Every walk of life, every society has people that that disrespect other people, that don't show love. That everyone has that, and or that will break the law, or that will do something wrong. But that paints our picture, that paints our world in actually the wrong way, because there's a
Hmm.
vast majority of people that are loving, that are caring, that want to help others when they can, or if they can,
Hmm.
and would do whatever they can, like they're genuinely great hearts, right?
We need to showcase those stories more. We don't in media. That's the thing. We
No,
really
that,
need to bring those to light more.
that doesn't
Like,
sell. That doesn't
no, it
sell.
doesn't sell. Like fear sells, like faith and there's so many great positive stories too. Like even people meeting, not saying just the relationship aspect, but like I did like a few weddings and they met in quarantine and their story was amazing and they're so like it was so amazing just seeing, two people that are so opposite from each other, two different countries here and they met.
Royalty, welcome in. Sorry, I
Yeah, and
just
they met during how you doing, royalty, and oh, DJ Spartacus, good to see you as well. Yeah, it was just nice, like seeing those positive stories, and they gave me such encouragement on the phone, just talking to me, and like yeah, I just wish that we would showcase those more, and maybe it's our jobs to do that. Maybe it's not for mainstream media, but even on our little shows, it's our job to showcase those stories, right?
well, what
And
I've
to
seen,
provide.
so yeah, what I've seen so far though in Twitch with other streamers and DJs is that the
Mhm.
community gathers together, and you see it in the chat, you see it with the streamers that have built a relationship with the community members, and they're like Ray Domingo is really good like that.
Mhm.
I remember one time, not to put Sonia Fossil on the spot, but he raided into Sonia Fossil,
Mhm.
right? He goes, "Oh yeah, let's just surprise her," and he raids right into her, show her love,
Mhm.
right? And or like in his stream when someone's having a hard time, throw up hearts. There's a whole bunch of like streamers that do exactly that. That you can see that they're not just lips. It's not just lip service, but
Yeah, they
they really
believe
feel
it.
for the
Yeah,
community or for someone that's going through a hard time.
for
And you
sure.
can,
Yeah.
and then you see all the people in the chat saying the exact same thing, right? Like, "Oh, I'm
Mhm.
so sorry. Our prayers are going out to you," and they're getting support. So, I mean, as streamers, you're already doing that by building your community that way, right?
Mhm. Exactly. So, I mean, you're only human just like the rest of us, and I think some people look at, I guess, priests or pastors or as superheroes, but they're human just like the rest of us, And I know sometimes, like, even when, like, I went to this church before, like, people would really look at this pastor like he was a god, which I don't think is correct, but people would look up to him so much that, but you got to realize that we're all human, we're all imperfect, we all make mistakes too, right? So I'm just curious what keeps you, because you're always encouraging other people and it's your nature to be a true encourager, or else you would have never gone in this field. What keeps you encouraged? Like, do you have to take time away because you're dealing with so many issues and problems and hard problems too, like the Toronto police, being a chaplain is probably not easy to do either, listening to, maybe people, dealing with multiple losses or shootings or just a lot of traumatic things. So what keeps you encouraged and how do you do that?
Well, one is prayer time, retreat days, or actually weeks. So we have times that we're away for retreat, pre-support groups that we meet in. You have other priests that go through the same thing that we get to, talk and ask questions. I have a spiritual director that I go to, if I run into any problems or anything, that I can chat and talk to him. But the main thing, I guess, is I guess what really does is, like, I guess I treat everyone. I mean, my mindset is to try to be like Christ, right?
Mhm.
So that there's a reason why you call, like, our title is Father.
Mhm.
It's because we're a spiritual father, right? And if you love your children, uh, you never really think about, "Oh, how am I going to get through this next day?" You just do it straight out of love, right? That agape love that I'm talking about. And one of the things I know that, talking about your old church that you went to, how you said some people put the pastor up like they worshipped him. I don't
Mhm.
know if it was worship, but it would be more like, how maybe it's like this. I don't know if they worship him or not. They might have, but
Mhm.
there are a few people that will put you up not on a pedestal in the sense to worship, but
Mhm.
as if you were like a grandfather.
Mhm.
Like, how would you treat your grandmother, right? You don't treat her the same as your mom,
Mhm.
right? In fact, you might even talk back to your mom, right? But you would never talk back to your grandmother,
Hmm.
right? There's a hierarchy there that you even recognize, that I wouldn't even be here without my mom, wouldn't be here, and she wouldn't be there without my grandmother. So there's
Mhm.
like, and she's lived life longer, so there's a respect that's owed to her, which is
Mhm.
not which is not against God's law.
Mhm.
The fourth commandment is honor thy mother and thy father. So we can honor human beings. There's nothing wrong with honoring human beings. In fact, it's in the commandments. Honor thy mother and thy father. You
Yeah, I
cannot.
don't think anyone would talk back to their, yeah, your mom or their grandma. You get serious beats. If you grew up in the 90s like me, you would get like every utensil thrown at you, not even just at home, but in restaurants.
But
So
can you talk back to your
you learn
uncle?
not to do that. You learn that very quickly.
Royalty, can you talk back to your uncle?
Not really. Yeah.
That's my
I don't
niece.
know. We'll see what. Oh, is it? Aw,
Yeah.
your niece? You got the whole family in here. That's so awesome. I love that. Hey, DJ 101, Boa Ninjas. We have, of course, Royal T in the building. Clarky just slipped through. DJ Spartacus, the Funk Shop. He had a great statement here. Just been an outpouring of love, like receiving from strangers via Twitch is almost a culture shock, truly humbling. I agree with you. And sometimes strangers and people you don't know are your largest supporters compared to friends and family. So I think that's really awesome. That's good. So when you say that you do these different groups and you have prayer time, do you like have a certain time like each day? Like do you pray a few times a day or like once a day? Do you have something set up that
Yeah,
you
yeah.
do?
I have prayer time in the morning, between 5 or 6 sometimes. So if I
Mhm.
wake up at 5, I do my office readings, my morning prayer. That's about 30, 40, 30 to 40 minutes. The office of readings, and the office of readings and the liturgy of the hours, you're
Mhm.
praying the Psalms and you're praying scripture and you're reading different church fathers and stuff like that. Uh,
Mhm.
and then I have the mass, I have confession, but all throughout the day I'm praying. So like St. Paul's letter, Thessalonians, right? Pray without ceasing, right?
You're making me feel like I really need to get back to that right now.
So
Just listening to you.
in the
Yeah.
morning prayer,
Mhm.
before meals prayer, always thanking God for everything we have.
Mhm.
Have an attitude of gratitude instead of
Yes, for
self
sure.
entitlement. I think a lot of people have self entitlement. I'm entitled to this. I work this
Mhm.
hard. I should get this.
True, yeah.
Everything is a gift, and once you
Mhm.
realize everything's a gift, it's
Mhm.
easier to just hold it like this and accept it. Um, Midday prayer at around right after mass. So if I have 12:10 mass, after mass, midday prayer. Uh, Afternoon evening prayer around 6 o'clock, which is now. I missed it, but I won't miss it. I'm going to do it after my baptismal prep class,
Yeah, you have 5 minutes, right? You have
and then
5
yes, and then night prayer. So
Wow.
I'm praying like 4 times a day.
And I would have to set alarms for myself, you know?
Oh, I mean, it's there's natural. You don't have to like.
But once you get into a routine, yeah, and you're right. And
Yeah,
once
but
you
there's a natural thing. Like, so when you wake up, you naturally wake up, right? And you get ready.
exactly.
Just
Yeah.
do it then. You naturally eat lunch. Just do the midday prayer then. You have dinner. Before dinner, do your evening prayer. Before
Yeah.
going to bed, do your night prayer.
I never used to pray for protection, like getting in a car and like leaving. And my mom told me recently, like, I need to start doing that. So I do feel like it does work because even yesterday, guys, like I've been pretty foggy for a while now, dealing with some stuff, but just feeling foggy. And I was in the car driving to the doctor's yesterday, and I told Father Damien I nearly clipped like a guy on the motorcycle. And Father Damien's like, "Hey, was that me?" And but the thing is I kind of wondered like if I didn't say a quick prayer, you know what I mean? I didn't even see like that person. Like I was just my reflexes are like not super fast right now. So, anyways, um, it kind of startled me because I could have literally I came so close to hitting this guy. And I think those prayers do matter and they do count, like even for protection or sometimes you take it for granted that you have an extra day, and we really don't know when the next day what the next day will bring, but prayer really does help, and I'm starting to do that now too in the car, but I need to do more of it. So you're reminding me that I need to get back to that place again. So I thank you for that as well. So I know we only have a few minutes left, and I just want to ask you too. And I know I asked you some deep questions, but I knew I could go in a little bit deeper with you, which I wanted to today. What has the pandemic taught you, also with your walk with God? Like what is kind of the biggest lesson you've learned like throughout this whole pandemic?
Well, I don't think it's anything new that I've learned.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's just reinforced other things that I've already learned.
Mm-hmm.
Because I've already trusted in God. I already gave my life to God, knowing that God is as I'm God is faithful to me, and I try to be faithful to God. And I know that the capacity for human beings to be better and to be elevated is always there, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's a theologian by the name of Hans Urs von Balthasar, not to throw out theological books and stuff like that and theologians, but he wrote a book called Dare We Hope That All Men Be Saved,
Mm-hmm.
right? And that's based on even Christ, the not the assumption, but the fact that Christ came, that all men be saved, like every human being be saved, right? So he didn't die just for one person. He would have, if one person was created, God would become man and die to pay back an infinite debt caused by Adam and Eve. But
Mm-hmm.
he died so that we can all have a chance to get to heaven, right? So that he can open the gates of paradise that was closed. So there is a hope for all humanity that we can come out of, like even the darkest person, there is always still a hope, a sliver of hope that they can change. You know, I always think of St. Paul. Everyone forgets, like people get angry with people and they say this person can never change. And then if in the history of the church, we see all these great saints that have changed, you know, from St. Augustine, who was a womanizer. He had an illegitimate child. He ran away from home. He stole an apple. If you've ever read the Confessions of St. Augustine, you'll say this guy is bad. Yet
Mm-hmm.
he is one of the church fathers in terms in the third, fourth century. One of the doctors of the church. He wrote tons of theological and scriptural tons of theological books and scriptural what is it called, I guess writings on scripture, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's written so many things. He's a doctor of the church, a bishop of the church of Hippo, and yet Saint Monica, which is our parish, is the mother of Saint Augustine, who prayed 17 long years for his conversion. And then we have examples of like St. Paul, who before becoming St. Paul was Saul, who persecuted all the Christians.
Or who killed? Didn't he kill like
Yeah,
a
and
bunch of
yeah,
Christians?
yeah, he persecuted and killed
It's
all.
hard it's hard to believe that like someone like I was actually just reading Jeffrey Dahmer's story. I don't know, it just popped up on Facebook and I usually don't like watching or reading stuff like that because it's just so horrific. But I was listening to some of the testimonies. I was like, whoa, that is crazy. But I just found out the other day, I don't know if they gave him the death penalty or, anyways, I think they did, or he died or something. But right before that, he gave his life to Jesus Christ. And it's like, oh, that would be a tough one. Can you imagine being a family member and having that ultimate forgiveness? But then when you think of what's in the Bible, they also killed people too,
Yeah, I think
right? Like,
in this life that we live in, it will be hard as human beings to forgive like that. But that's the
mhm.
agape love we're called to. But
Yeah.
when we're all in heaven, we are perfected in that agape love. So I guarantee you, even his if he is in heaven,
Hmm.
if he's in heaven, I don't know.
Hmm.
If he ever gets to heaven, and if those souls of the departed that he had murdered are in heaven, you will be amazed at how they're praying for his conversion. They're actually, because okay, we'll go back to St. Paul.
Hmm.
The very first church martyr in scripture is St. Stephen, the deacon. He was martyred, stoned to death, and everyone laid the jackets, the cloak of their jackets at the foot of a young man named Saul for his approval. And as he was being stoned to death and he saw Jesus in the clouds, Saint Stephen, he looked at the people and he said, "Forgive them, Lord." The same prayer that Jesus said to the Father for those that were crucifying him. He said the exact same prayer. Saul is there, and years later, Saul converts and becomes one of the greatest proponents for Christianity.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you never know. I feel like God's love can hit everyone. Like he wants to touch everyone, but it's up to each individual because we all have that choice. You know what I mean? And
Yep.
sometimes I think when, say, if I get in a debate with my friends that are atheists or just don't believe, right? They'll definitely debate me on a lot of things. It makes me think like, okay, well, if I'm wrong, then I would have tried to live like an okay life. Like I would have tried my best. And if I'm wrong, then I'm wrong. But what happens if I'm right? And it's not a matter of me being right or wrong, but what happens if this is truth? What happens if one day we will all like actually see God face to face? And that's what I care about. It's like, what's going
Well,
to happen when you see him face to face? Like, I just want to get in the door. I just want to get in the gate. Like,
yeah, and I think
that's
that's
something
where,
that I'm
yeah,
concerned. A lot of people are like, oh no, I'm good. I'm good. But how do you really know? Because we're taught so much to do differently here, like to work for things that just really don't matter in the end, you
well,
know?
for us as Christians, it's very simple.
Mm-hmm.
It's simple, but not easy. Love God, love neighbor, period.
Hmm.
You want to break it. People complex things so much.
Mm-hmm.
Love God, love neighbor. That's it. For us as Christians, that's all we have to do. That's
Hmm.
the whole 10 Commandments and the laws of Christ. Love God, love neighbor.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That's it. It's
Hmm.
simple, but we complex it and
Yeah, it's true.
we make it complicated. But
Mm-hmm.
that is really simple. And for yourself, just advice for you, if you have friends that are atheists that are, remember what St. Thomas Aquinas says: those who have faith, no explanation is necessary. Those without faith, no explanation will suffice. So theological debates never win anyone over. Theological debates are usually for those that are already in the faith.
Hmm.
What converts is the Holy Spirit. So you should be
Mm-hmm.
praying for them, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not even worried. And so when you meet up with them, you don't need to talk religion. You don't need to talk anything. You just pray for them, and God will do what God does, and He's
Mm-hmm.
been doing for centuries. But I do
I know
have
you got to go. I know you got to go. Thanks so much for this interesting philosophical, deep
hello,
conversation.
Hess McPherson. There's my sister.
It was much different from what I normally do on my streams. It was refreshing. So thank you for going so much more deeper. I know you got to go. So make sure everyone in the room adds Father Damien as well. Great person inside out. Great show, House of God. You could see him mix it up on the turntables, House of God. He's got to go. So I thank you
Thank you.
so
The
much.
pump shop. Yeah.
Is there anyone that you would want to raid into, or I know you got to jump and get on
I
his
I
meeting
don't
right now?
know. I don't know who's on.
Okay, all right.
Who's on? Let me see.
I'll check.
Um. Well, I guess who's on right now?
If not, I could find someone, no problem. But
Yeah,
yeah,
I would say let's rate into Ray Domingo. He rated into you, so.
yeah. I'm like, is he even on? I don't even know if he's on. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I don't know who else. There's like a lot of people. There's DJ Remarks on.
Throw up a nice comment too for Father Damien, guys. So if he catches the replay, he could check it. But make sure you guys flood the chat room. He's got a lot of great insight as well, and definitely helped me a lot too with my shows, with his insight and just what he has to say. So I know you got to go. So I can also try to find someone to raid into if you have to leave right away. No problem.
I do. I have to. I
Okay.
have to. I have to teach baptismal prep class for parents that have their children that want to be baptized. So.
Okay, no problem. Okay, well, good luck with that. Keep in touch, and I'll
Will do.
see you on your show. I know it's going to be a bit of shenanigans always between us, but thank you. I'll bring you back on again. I'd love to dive in deeper again with you on different things and
Not a
talk
problem.
about the DJ thing. I know I spent most of the time talking
I
about
am slamming. I
other
didn't even
things.
see I am slamming's here.
Hey, how you doing? I am slamming. Good to see you.
Las Vegas in the house. Thank you, Luxo. Thank you, everyone. I do have to go.
All right, no problem. Thank you so much, Father Damien.
Thank you,
You're going
everyone.
to leave me by myself. That's okay. Magnified on screen. I don't know how to minimize the screen.
Solitude is a good thing because
Oh,
then it's
it
you
makes
and
me
God.
uncomfortable. I feel uncomfortable.
Because you see in solitude, you see yourself who you are, and you see how God sees you.
Oh, trust me. I've been in solitude the last couple months. You don't need to worry about that one. All right. Well, have a great night. We will
Thank
definitely
you.
talk soon. I want to stream with you too sometime at some point. We'll definitely have to stream together and both run
Not
to
a,
the altar together. That'll
not a
be
problem. Well,
awesome.
you can run. I'll walk.
All right. Sounds good. And we'll grab some Americanos as well. That would be
Excellent.
dope. All
Thank you.
right. Take care, Father
All right.
Damien. See
Bye.
ya.
See you.
All right, guys. Oh my gosh, I'm left by myself now. You know how uncomfortable this makes me feel? I hope you guys have had a great just listening to what he had to say. I thought it was so much insight. I wanted to dive in a little bit deeper with him because the questions I asked him are also questions that I've been thinking about lately too. So I hope you guys learned something from him. I just think he's a really awesome stand up guy, not only with this show, but really doing something with a mission. And that really truly inspires me to do something different with my show, to get back to some of the things that I used to do before Twitch, actually. So he definitely inspires me. Yeah, solo effort right here. I'm going to find someone quickly to raid into, so yeah, so you guys aren't staring at me for so long in front of the camera. But thank you guys for coming. I really appreciate it. Lank Louie again for those bits. Joan, Winston, um, Risky Ringo as well earlier, and Lank Louie again. Thank you guys for always supporting my show. Truly appreciate it. It's great to be back as well too. So let's see. I'm just looking here on my phone, guys. See who we could raid into. And if there's anything that stood out in this interview to you, definitely post it in the comments and I'll be sure to I'll make sure I share them as well. Let me know if there's anything that stood out in what he said. There's a few things that stood out to me, like what was it when he talked about the three different types of love? It made me think too in relationships. Sometimes we go for one type of love, but we're not going for the agape, is it type of love? And that's what we should all be striving for. So that's something that really stood out to me tonight. And just him, pursuing what he's doing in his faith. I just really commend that. I think that's not easy to do, and that's really inspiring to me. All right, so guys, let's see who we could rate into. I can't ramble anymore. Yes, the 3 levels. Yeah, so you guys help me. Post in the chat room what stood out to you. Jackie says the 3 levels of love. That really stood out to me as well. Also the love languages, because I really am a firm believer in the love languages. He gave me a different perspective tonight on maybe not putting that so much emphasis just on the 5 love languages. So that kind of stood out to me as well. Okay, guys, I'm going to find someone very quickly. Let's see, just scrolling through my phone. This is where I wish I had background music or some sound effects. I got to get used to being on my own. So, anytime people say they need to leave, I quickly try to like raid out very quickly. Oh, man. Okay, let's see here. Who can we raid into? Just going to be a minute. Sonya's like, pew, pew, pew. Okay, you know what? Let's raid into DJ Chanel B is celebrating her 2-year anniversary. She just won the Twitch Award, I think, for the most unique creative streamer, I believe. So let's raid into her. I know Mimi Berry's like easy for you to say Mimi Berry. I don't, you're not even in front of the camera, girl. Look at me. I wish I was minimized here. Um, you say you're fine. I guess so. Okay, so let's raid into DJ Chanel B. It's 2 year. Oh shoot, I think she's rating out at 7 though. Shoot, is she rating out at 7 o'clock? Yeah, guys, I think she's rating out at 7 p.m. So she's probably going to be rating out right away. Um, let's see if we could kind of check in there. Yeah, could someone check in to see how long Chanel B is going to be on for? That would be great. Um, if someone can send her a quick message, maybe that would be good. Yeah, so if there's anything else that stood out to you guys, definitely leave a message with me. Let me know. Uh, oh, Jackie also says, yes, me too, on the love languages. Very insightful. Thank you. Blessings and love. Thank you. I appreciate that, Jackie. I appreciate that prayer. Thank you so much. Um, let's see here. You know what? Maybe we could just try raiding into her. And if she raids out, that's fine. It looks like she's still having fun. All right, so let's set up this raid, guys. Mimi Berry, are you able to set it up or no? If you're able to set it up, that's great. Yeah, and I also wanted to thank you guys. Whoever nominated me, I really, truly am humbled. I appreciate it so much. I was quite shocked that I was even on the list. But I believe me and Father Damien, I think I mentioned it to Father Damien too, that whether you get an award, whether you're not, whether you're on a list or you're not, it really doesn't matter because, even Father Damien, I know he believes in this too, that our rewards are not here. They're definitely, I'm a firm believer that they're also in heaven too, the rewards. So whatever you do, even if you do it privately or in secret, it doesn't need to be before man, it doesn't need man's approval, but he's the one that, up above that truly gives you those rewards. So that was something I kind of, me and Father Damien talked about too, off record, which we're definitely on the same page with. But I do appreciate whoever nominated me. That was such a great raid train as well. Oh, I thought it went till 7 o'clock. Okay, so let's raid into, oh, shoot. I think she's raiding out right now. Let's see here. I'm just looking. Yeah, you know what, guys? She's raiding out right now. Okay, let's find someone else then, because she looks like I see raid messages going up in her chat room. Let's see here. Yeah, she's out. Okay, I took too long. All right. Silence feels very awkward right now. Let's see here. I got to learn to be in front of the camera alone too. No music, no equipment, just talking to you guys. But thank you for sticking around. Okay, you know what? Let's raid out to DJ Diamond Lee then. Can you raid DJ Diamond Lee, Mimi Berry? That would be great. So, yes, let's raid out to DJ Diamond Lee. He's another great guy. He's one of those guys that, you know, just such a great guy, one of those guys that no one could be mad at because he's such a great guy. That's how I consider DJ Diamond Lee. He's always so smiley and friendly and just has a heart for people, and I love that when I watch his shows about him. So we'll do that. Let's raid into DJ Diamond Lee. He's a great streamer. Copy my raid message. Definitely send it to the next chat. I'll see you guys as well. I'm aiming for Sunday. Going to see how I feel on Sunday to stream, and I'm going to aim to do kind of like a slow jam R&B special, usually my Sunday show. So look out for me. Hopefully this month, going to play it by ear and try to get back on my schedule again. But many blessings to all you guys. Thanks for coming through. I hope you learned something new today, not only about Father Damien, but his faith and what he's striving for, what he believes in. And I hope that inspires you guys to kind of think outside the box and think a little bit more deeper in that area too, you know? Um, so, oh, you said raid canceled? Okay, let's see if this raid is going through. Oh, he's on a raid train? Oh, shoot. Did he just leave too? What is happening? Everyone's leaving. Okay, you said he's on a raid train. So that means he just left as well? Okay, let me see who else is on here. Wow. Everyone's raiding out the exact same time, too. Oh, because it's an hour? Okay, let's see here. I'm just checking. You said from Minnow? I don't even think I can't even it's not even coming up. Hmm. Okay, we could do that. Uh Vernimal? Is it Vernimal? I don't know why it's not coming up here on my phone at all. That's strange. DJ, is it DJ Vernimal? Got a raid before the hour. Oh man, I should have raided out very quick, a lot quicker, because now I'm starting to ramble. Okay, let's see here. I can't, it's not coming up. I'm trying to, yeah, I'm trying to add Vernimal, but it's not coming up here for some weird reason. All right. I'm scrolling, 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 and looking. Okay, who else can we catch? Um, Yeah, for some reason it's not. We could try Vernimal. We could try that and see if it works. Mimi Berry, Vernimal. For some reason, I don't know what's going on with Twitch, but it doesn't allow me to. Um, it doesn't allow me to look it up on my phone or when I'm looking up people now. For some reason, I don't know if it's blocked. I can't seem to look up people. Oh, he must have rated out? Wow, that's 3 people already. Okay, we gotta catch someone fast, guys. You don't wanna be sitting here with me like this. Oh, man. Okay. You know what? Let's get DJ Brax. We're gonna get DJ Brax. He's another great guy too, and he's so funny. Let's see if this works. So let's go to DJ. Oh, Vernimal is on. He is still on. I'm just trying to read your messages. Okay, Mimi Berry, let's try Vernimal. Let me know if that works as well. We will take Langlui's advice and Sonia's and go to Vernimal. Yeah, and big up to everyone that won the awards. And I think I tried staying 4 hours, and that was a lot for me being in the chat rooms chatting away. So big up to everyone that won the awards. There's so many great people, even the nominees. And big shout out to Amani Experience Nerd Chris. It took so much time to do that show, and it's so much work. And Nerd Chris is like a powerhouse woman too, always working behind the scenes and never, takes credit because she does it silently. She also helped me hugely on my raid train against human trafficking too. So big up to her as well, because it does take a lot of work. And again, remember, whether you're on a list or you're not, it really doesn't matter. All of us streamers bring something unique and have something to offer the world. And remember, if you have like one person in your chat or 100, it doesn't matter. Like that one person's coming to your show for a purpose and a reason. And remember to always give positivity, because you just don't know what people are going through in the chat. There's so much, and Father Damien is like a living witness to that. So mad respect to him. He truly inspires me and is thinking outside the box DJing. One of the first DJs I met that kind of share similar faith with me. And yeah, it's a true inspiration to see what he's doing and how he's helping others. So remember that each of us can help and make a difference as well. All right, so it looks like it's rating out to Vernimal. We are going to him, and hopefully it works. Thanks for the recommendation. Appreciate you guys, and for the bits and just coming to the show today. Really appreciate you guys. I'll see you guys on Sunday, and hopefully I'll get back to a regular schedule soon as well. All right. So it looks like it's just rating out. Let's see here. Did it rate out? Okay, perfect. Okay, just rated. All right, guys, have a great night. Stay blessed, stay safe, and make sure you guys are asking those questions for yourself, those life questions. Very, very important. We're not guaranteed tomorrow. So make sure you guys are also seeking those answers for yourself, too. God bless. And we will see each other in these streets, Twitch streets. Actually, right now, I'll try to jump in the chat room. All right. Take care, you guys. Have a great night.